Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for another Alfred Hitchcock Presents review. Today I will be talking about Season 4, Episode 18, The Last Dark Step, starring Robert Horton and Faye Spain. And I have to say, I really didn't know anything about The Last Dark Step going into it, but this episode really surprised me. I thought it was really good, and I would even say it's an essential Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode, and the twist at the end is pretty crazy and pretty interesting. So we start out with Alfred Hitchcock introducing us to the episode, and he has a glove with 6 fingers on it, and not sure how he got that, but I won't say anything more about that. So it turns out that this couple, Brad and Janice, are engaged, and things seem to be going pretty well. They seem to be into each other. The only problem for Brad is that he still hasn't broken it off with his ex-girlfriend, Leslie, and he's going to see her later that day. So Brad does go to see Leslie in the next scene, and it turns out Brad's doing some kind of real estate development, and he thinks things might be working out for him. We learn a little bit more that he's had some financial problems in the past, things haven't worked out, and Leslie's even financed him and helped him out. It's strongly implied she's maybe helped him out with some bills and things like that too. So they talk for a few more minutes, and kind of out of nowhere and abruptly, Brad tries to break it off with Leslie because he tells her he wants to marry another woman. So I was surprised he was actually honest. That's kind of a nice twist in an Alfred Hitchcock Presents review, but I was giving the character Brad too much credit at this point, as he doesn't turn out too honest in the end, but he was honest here, so Leslie's naturally upset. She wants to know more about this other woman, so Brad reluctantly tells her the woman's name is Janice, and Leslie kind of remembers meeting her. I guess they met once somewhere. And so at this point, neither's happy. They start threatening each other. Leslie says, if you don't stop seeing this woman, I'll basically nag you and keep following you around, basically forever, I suppose. And Brad also threatens her and says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So now we're in a very messy situation, which I know, being Alfred Hitchcock Presents, probably won't end very well. So at this point, we go to the next scene, and Brad does something. He's messing around with a car. I'm not sure if it was his car or Leslie's car, but it's all part of his plan, as we'll find out later, to get rid of Leslie permanently. And this is where the episode kind of turns out from being pretty good to really good, in my opinion. So things get kind of dark here. So Brad calls Leslie, tells her about the car trouble, says they'll have to take another car, I believe it is, and they're going to go to the beach. So at this point, they decide to go swimming, and they're kissing in the water, and at this point, Brad actually drowns Leslie in a very disturbing and well done scene. I have to say, it was pretty creepy. So at this point, Brad is leaving the scene, and he decides to switch cars, and it seems like maybe he'll be home free. But when Brad gets home, here's the big twist. There's 2 detectives there, and I'm wondering at this point myself, how did they find out about this? So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. So they tell Brad that his friend was killed, and he lies about his alibi. When they find some beach attire on him, on his personal belongings, he says he hasn't been to the beach for a while. And the detectives tell him it would probably be better if you were at the beach because it would give you an alibi. And at this point, everything comes together. They find the knife on Brad, and it turns out that Janice was the one they were inquiring about. She was killed. She was stabbed with a knife like quite a few times. It's pretty gruesome. And we know Brad didn't kill Janice, but he can't give his real alibi because that would implicate him for killing Leslie, which is what he was really doing. So it looks like he's going to get in trouble, maybe for the wrong killing or maybe for both killings at this point. Who knows? But Brad is definitely in trouble. So a pretty great twist that I didn't really see coming. My only slight complaint about this episode would be it's another episode where you kind of have to go with it. It seems maybe improbable that both of these women were killed on the same day around the same time. But if you just go with it, the twist works really well. And I'm going to give The Last Dark Step a 4.5 out of 5. Definitely a great and essential episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. This is a good example of one that has a pretty simple plot, but the acting, directing, and writing are all solid, and it's just a really well done episode. So 4 out of 5 for The Last Dark Step. Thanks for watching.